It's good.
Hello, and welcome to the Knowing Show. Y'all, I am your host, and I am so excited to be joined here today. We were talking about this before we started. I feel more excited about this show than I normally do.
Whoa.
A couple of reasons, no pressure, Brian. Y'all, we are joined here to discuss something that's really, really important, which is effectively, are we dreaming big enough? Are our horizons stretching far enough? Or are we actually self-limiting because we are living someone else's dream? We're living for other people. They're the ones defining and guiding our lives. And we actually have never, or we did take stock at one point, but we've moved away from it. And so, Brian Hoa, I'm so happy to have you. Thank you so much for being here with us. You are a world-breaking closer. You're so incredibly talented at sales. And we actually connected in and around that topic at first. So, Brian, I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you. I like to call myself an opener. I don't like to, I don't like to close things too much, but and especially people got to open them up so that they can see the world, right?
What a good perspective. Yes. Well, and that speaks so well to this conversation that we're going to have today. Brian, I asked you a week ago what was on your heart to discuss today. Can you kind of tell me where that led you and what you've been thinking about ever since?
Oh boy. I mean, I've been with my wife since high school. Okay. So that's one of the most important things to me. We have two beautiful children. And I look at this journey because we both grew up, kind of in poverty, like both my parents, they worked in factories and now, not to brag, but like I live in like pure abundance,
Yeah.
So what came to me was a lot of people chase money, and I've certainly chased money because I came from poverty, and but I've seen people that have so much money, like we're talking deca millions, like even more than that, and but they're not happy. They're they're not, they don't have a good relationship with their spouse, their parents, their family, and it's like, if even if they have a bajillion cajillion dollars, it's kind of like, not the greatest thing. You can't buy a good relationship.
Right. Mm.
So, but
Brian, that's so
that
important. Gosh. One of the things, and I want to hand it back over to you. We were talking about this actually. What sparked this initial conversation was you were saying my wife and I were dreaming together, and we were analyzing whether our horizons are big enough. And that to me was like, hold up. So many couples don't have that type of dynamic. So I just wanted to posit that for the audience listening, that really stood out to me. Most people are not dreaming and wondering if their horizons are collectively big enough. So back over to you, because that stood out to me and made me pause.
Thank you so much. So what came to me literally in the last couple of days, because we were watching the whole Alex Hermosi launch. I'm sure some of you tuning in know about it. So me and my wife Nancy, we were watching the interview with Stephen Bartlett, and some things really came up for us. Because right now I'm working on a few things, some sales projects. We have our own business, all that kind of stuff. But the question came up, like, what if we looked at our fears? What if we looked at what we're afraid to look at, and then what would the possibilities be if we go out and actually do the things more that we really truly want to do, genuinely us. So, because your post the other day about shooting all the golf balls, it's like, well, are we shooting enough golf balls? Not enough, but like, are we shooting the right golf balls? Are we shooting, like, how will we even know if we don't really dive in and just become our fullest?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I love that. And so the Stephen Bartlett. So for those of you who don't know, Stephen Bartlett is the host of the Diary of a CEO and an incredible founder. He inspired me with the Knowing podcast. So I'm a big fan of Stephen Bartlett. So he did an interview with, was it Alex and Layla after the launch?
I just listened to the one with just Alex, and then I listened to the one with Alex and two other people, Cody Sanchez and someone else.
Okay.
But yeah, it just really inspired us because he was talking about his story, about how he had to choose between living his life or his dad's life. And I never heard that before, because all I see is this guy in a tank top with a no strip thing, and like I never heard him speak until that time. And so since then, me and Nancy had been really looking at it, and she suggested that like I just lessen down the projects that I'm working with other people, and then just lean more into like being me and stop like diluting myself.
Wow. And how do you even know, right? How do we know when we're diluting ourselves?
Well, when you sit with yourself and you ask yourself, what the hell do you really want?
Mm.
Something good might come to you if you're in a good, grounded, centered state. So I did that last night,
Nice.
and yeah, I feel like I'm being called. I'm being called up. I'm being tapped on the shoulder to really help people in relationships.
Mm.
And yeah, it's called relation saving ship.
I love that.
I already have a name for it. I've had the domain for the last 10 years, and I never did anything with it, but it's really about helping people
Wow.
just access that relationship that they need with themselves so that they can be good anywhere. Like
Mm.
it's such a deep thing for me because like I said, I chased money for so long,
Mm.
right? But then realizing that a lot of times it's not the answer. It might feel comfortable, but when your family's on the line,
Yeah.
like money is just not really even relevant.
Mm. Wow. You said you've known this for 10 years. Like this has been your thing for 10 years. Is it Can you kind of talk about that? So like let's back up a little bit. You said that both of your parents were factory workers. Where were you raised?
This is part of the story. Alex on the podcast with Steven, he was talking about like if there's pain, profession, and passion around it, then you've got something. So
Mm.
when I was younger, I remember as a child asking my dad, why haven't you divorced her yet?
Oh,
To
wow.
about my mom, because she was yeah. So
Wow.
I grew up in a very abusive relationship, not so much physically, but more mentally and
Sure.
emotionally. And
Yeah.
I just witnessed it time and time and time again. I didn't realize as a child that she was probably like that because she was hurt.
Mm.
I didn't know that. I didn't understand it. I just didn't understand why she had to be so mean.
Mm.
So I literally asked him that. And then, so from a young child, I knew that I had a choice. I could either be in a relationship that's healthy, or I can be in a relationship that is like a beautiful example for the entire world.
Wow.
So I knew at a young age, because I met Nancy at 14, we got together at 17, and we just always knew that this is what we wanted to do, is to just curate this beautiful love that we have. And don't get me wrong, we've gone through like highs and lows and all the edges of anything relationship,
Mm.
like all the edges. We've been through a lot.
Mm.
And I don't know, man. Sorry. I just feel like I'm being called to
Yes. Wow. That's so, I was talking to a dear friend of mine and actually a couple folks. I was hosting the Knowing Retreat in Vegas back in
mm,
April.
mm,
You gentlemen, like very, you probably know some of them, but very well regarded
mm,
and very successful,
mm,
said something very similar. They were like, I feel like I'm being called forth almost like akin to like the king's journey, like the king archetype. And it really caused me to lean in because, to your point, one of the gentlemen during that time really had a reckoning about a moment with his dad.
mm,
I did a men's retreat back in August where a lot of men, actually every single one who came, their dads had left. And
mm.
so just like understanding what the impact of our relationship with our father has on us and our relationship with our, because both of those, man, looking at them in isolation is so important because otherwise that's our default to
Yeah.
operate according to the example that was set before us unless
Yes.
we intentionally create our own.
I had to do a lot of work around this. I grew up pretty angry around that type of, my relationship with my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
Um, I resented them for quite a few things. I was like a top star athlete at school.
Hmm.
But then I just kept hanging on to the story that like my parents don't love me because they never come to my games.
Oh, wow. That's so devastating.
Yeah, as a boy. But then so I had to work through a lot of things, and it wasn't until 2016 when the tables really shifted for me. I went to a live Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within, in San Jose.
Yeah.
So I was there with my buddy Josh, and Tony said something on stage where he's like, "Yo, if you're gonna blame your parents for all the bad stuff in your life, you better blame them for all the good things too."
Mm,
Because you wouldn't be you if you didn't go through all that.
yeah.
And I'm like, "Whoa, I never saw that before." And so, fast forward, almost 10 years, every time I see my mom and dad now, it's just customary because I introduced it. I give them a hug
Yeah.
and a kiss, but both of them. And that doesn't happen in Asian families. Like you ask any Asian person, that is very, very foreign. Um, it's not a very affectionate type of environment.
Yes.
So I was like, yo, I'm just gonna put love into this and see what goes on. And so I just decided to heal it, forgive, and just like be empathetic and just
Mhm.
I'm very qualified to teach this stuff.
Brian, this is so exciting. I'm so excited for you. So effectively watching that moment with Alex where he said, "Am I going to live my life or my father's life?" Was that
Mhm.
it for you where you're like, "Hold up."
Well, actually, Nancy, she's like, "Yo, we were on a walk on the weekend, literally like 2 days ago,
Mm.
and she's like, yo, let's put more energy into the stuff that we really want to do, like
Yes.
both of us, because she's definitely living her path and her dream, and you're going to speak with her in probably a few days, or I don't know
Yeah.
when she booked with you, but it's like she really encouraged me to just you know show up with more fire and just like share what I truly deeply want in my heart,
Mm.
and that to me, I was so grateful because who has a woman like that? Not very many people,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and to your point, you've said this a couple of times, called forth. I think that that's actually, man, isn't that a charge for each one of us in relationship and in partnership? Are we calling forth our partners? Are we
Mm,
calling forth the very thing that we fell in love with them for?
yes.
And the vision that we see, it's really important. And I was married for 8.5 years, with
Mm,
him for a decade, and that's like the only relationship I've been in other than this new one that I'm kind of exploring right now. So I don't
well,
have a wide history of dating.
mm,
Um,
me
and
neither.
one of the yeah, I've got more than you apparently. That's so funny. But apparently there's something about really delving into, I love you for who you are today, and I love your potential. I
Mm,
love who you can be. And Jordan Peterson said this effectively: when we're in that dating stage, we're seeing their best self right now. And so then our responsibility as our partner moving forward is to point them back. Hey, this is how you showed up before. This is who you say you want to be. There's a disconnect between who you were when we were dating, and a disconnect between your ideal. And
yeah.
so what a loving thing to be able to call forth that partner. Man, it's almost better for us to stay alone if we have any semblance of a dream or a calling, if we don't have a partner who's going to call us.
Yeah. I was actually speaking with a client yesterday.
Mm,
I've walked him through a few things in the past, and he recently reached out recently because he was having trouble. He was going through some therapy with his wife because his main goal was to stay in the house and not leave because he wants to be a good influence for his two children, a girl and a
mm,
boy. And I'm
yeah,
like, what? I'm like, what a beautiful mission. But during therapy, all they were doing was focusing like, oh, this is what he does wrong because there's two women in the room. I'm not bashing women,
yeah.
um, but it's like it wasn't healthy for him. The other day he got pulled over driving 90 on a 55 because he was planning to hurt himself.
Wow.
This is no joke, right? Like and so this is coming at a time where like I'm being called forth that like all these messages are coming into my world, my radar, and it's like I walked him through some things yesterday just to kind of like refocus him, and now he's on a better path, right? Thank goodness he got pulled over because who knows what would have happened.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. And isn't that a reframe in and of itself? Yesterday I was at the DMV and it was taking forever, but I had brought this book. I felt compelled to bring this book, A Course in Miracles, with me. And it ended up being such like a nourishing time. Like I felt like, oh, I'm feeding my spirit.
Mhm,
it was so meaningful.
mhm.
And man, that line, what would have been my nemesis, turned into the environment for gratitude. And
Yeah.
so, really, if we're living life slow enough, we can realize, oh, I'm being called in this direction. I'm being called to bring the book with me. And then also, if we're living life slow enough, we can identify, oh, this is an opportunity to completely have a reframe.
Mm,
Because, Brian, if you weren't living slow enough, you and your wife wouldn't have been on a walk. Like who takes walks? It's so rare to actually slow down and
yeah.
actually, I started walking after my meals and just digesting the food. We just move
Nice.
one thing to the next thing. And
Nice.
so I want to ask you about how you and your wife have effectively structured your life to allow for that space to cultivate not just your relationship, but to cultivate the environment in which you all speak into each other's lives.
Mm. So really, the walks, they're just planned. It's no big deal. We just kind of schedule it, or just like you said, after a meal, we go for a walk or we do something active to digest the food. A lot of Asians do that, so I'm glad you do it too.
Yeah,
um,
it's been so helpful and I love it.
Very good. So going back to your question about just cultivating that space. One of my really good friends just got out of a relationship two weeks ago. I mean, yeah, about 2 weeks ago, and they were together 2 years. And when he came to me and my wife Nancy about it, I kind of had a feeling that would happen because they don't really go deep enough. Like,
Mm,
I'm just an observer on the outside. I'm not here to tell people what to do. I'm not here to be like, "Oh, yeah, you need to go deeper with your partner," right? But, this was just one of the observations, and so when we go for a walk, like, we talk about deep shit,
yeah.
like, stuff that really moves the needle. We talk about our kids' futures. We talk about, like, one of the walks we had, she was noticing I was letting myself go. This was a few years ago, letting myself
Mm,
go in the space of health,
mm.
and then she said to me, and I was just rejecting it and refusing it and just like turning it away, resisting it so hard. And she busts out the line. She goes, "Hey, you were a star athlete in high school, and you're an athlete. Like, your kids deserve
Wow.
to see you at your best." And I just broke down in tears. Like,
Wow,
I
Brian.
was like, Who is like?" I was like, "Who says that stuff?" And I knew that very, very early in our relationship
Mm.
because when we were 14, we were in each other's home rooms,
Yeah.
and I got a hint at that time. So like we were all, we were all like doing our projects together. I mean, like the whole class, history and geography. It was called Hig class. Um, Nancy stands up, turns around to the guy around, and like everything's quiet, right? Because we're just doing it. She's like, "Shut the f up." Sits back,
Maroon.
sits back down, and then for the rest of the class, like you could hear a pin drop. So actually, to be honest, for years I was just scared of her. But then I was in her math class one year, maybe in grade 11 or whatever, and I was like, "Yo," because I was always curious, like, what the hell was that, right? So I asked her, I'm like, "Why did you yell at Richard like that?" And she goes, "Well, sh he was making fun of handicapped kids."
Oh,
So I had to, I had
wow.
so I knew very young that I needed someone like that on my team because she don't put up with bullshit.
Man, that's so good. Brian, that's okay. So you just said this phrase and I absolutely love it. I need to have someone like that on my team.
Yeah.
That is the team mentality. Actually, before I started my business, the gentleman that I used to work for, he was like, I only hire people who were former athletes
Mm,
because they understand the team mentality. They understand they cannot do it alone.
mm.
And so I want to ask you, how do you maintain a team mentality in entrepreneurship, which is very isolated in terms of its pursuits?
Yeah. Well, my wife and I, we have a small team. It's just me
Mm,
and her at the moment, and Yeah, we're each other's rocks. Like I don't know what else to say, but like this morning I spent like I was walking on my field barefoot and I sent 7 people a voice message.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing. I need people on my team. People that will support me instead of like listening to all the people that think I'm crazy or like who are you to do this and that. Like I knew intuitively, I know that if I'm gonna build something big, like I gotta have people like that on my team. So I don't know if I answered your question,
Mm.
but we realize at a deep level, like if you want to do big things, like you will have to have a good team, big or small.
I love this. And I love the concept that the team doesn't mean that you pay them. It's
Mhm.
literally like your board of advisors. And that doesn't mean that you pay them either, but it's like who's in your boardroom of life.
Mhm.
And I like thinking about each one of us has our internal intelligences, our emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, physical and intellectual intelligence, all of which are our own internal boardroom. As long as we know how to activate it, turn it on, bring them to the table, and then we have the ability and time. That's why time and space is so important to actually go and sit and listen. But then also the people around us. Jim Rohn says we're the sum of the 5 people around us.
Yeah.
But really, it's are we choosing them by intention,
Mhm.
or this is where it comes in full circle, Brian, to the whole point of are we the ones building our lives, or are other people the ones doing it? Is our boardroom chosen for us? Or have we actually chosen those 5 to 10 people that we want to be around? And
Yeah.
then going out and actively pursuing them. How
Mhm.
much of our day are we actually initiating versus reacting to? So, to this whole point of they're on my team, I think that this is so incredibly important. And we
Mhm.
don't operate this way. And then we end up feeling alone. We're in the epidemic of loneliness that
Yeah.
we've never seen to this time. And we are all so connected. Connected. So,
We
how do
are.
you maintain your team?
It all goes back to what you do to get yourself to the point where you don't feel unworthy of
Mm,
having a team, right? Like the thing is, the old me or the small Brian would be like, "Yo,
mm,
who am I? Who am I to even get help? Who am I?" No, like I have a mission. Like I've got to become the person that is bold enough to be like, "Yo, join me, help me."
yes.
Because it sometimes it just takes the most courage, and I'm sure you know this. Sometimes the thing that takes the most courage is for someone to reach out and ask for help.
Mm, wow. I've always thought of that concept when it comes honestly to like addiction or something like that. But
Mhm.
I've never thought of it in a positive way. I love this. I feel like my whole concept around relationships in the horizontal in terms of community is just really expanding. So Brian, thank you. Because man, there's something about community, whereas are we humble enough to ask for it? Are we brave enough? Do we have the courage to
Yes.
ask for it?
Yes.
How do you even go about doing that? You said you sent the voice messages and
I
said,
I I just got a reply from Qasim.
"Oh, really? I love that." I love that. Like, okay, so you're messaging people, sending voice messages saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
this is my vision. This is what I feel called to." And then when you say, "Will you be on my team?" What does that look like? Like, what are you hoping to receive from them?
Honestly, it's I'm in a position of zero expectation. It's more of an energetic thing where it's like I'm just being the person that's bold enough to talk about it.
Mm,
Because like in the past, I've tried to start things and I wouldn't tell anyone about it because I would want to be like the all of a sudden like superstar that just shows up out of nowhere and
yes.
just in case it doesn't work, then nobody knows about it anyway.
Wow.
So it's really about just like, yo, if this mission is important, then just share it with the world, because who knows if there's someone that could be that is like literally begging on their knees to meet someone like you, so that like you can help serve them and bring them up and save them from whatever it is, because they can't see shit that they can't see.
Yes. Brian, this is so important. I want to reflect 2 things. The first is when your wife said, you know, why your children deserve to see you being the athlete that you were in high school.
Woo!
That could very well be the healing that little Brian, high school Brian, needed when his parents wouldn't show up. You know, and so when we've got the partner that sees us and sees the parts of us and loves the parts of us that our own parents didn't, man, isn't that healing? And it doesn't have to be our partner. It can be that coach or that person like you're talking about, showing up to serve, because those parts of us have to heal for us to then alchemize them and then walk in our calling.
You know, oh man, I want to share with you, like for you people that are watching and you, Christine, that like this is a continual process. You know, it's like this roller coaster. It's not like I'm this like picture perfect thing and Nancy's this picture perfect. It's not that. Like just recently, we uncovered some stuff where like I was forced to see that I was just being the little boy that kept running away from his greatness.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it's like, why? Why do we do that? You know, what stories do we believe and hang on to?
Yes.
And so I don't know, like the fact that I'm speaking about this publicly, even though it's just like me and you right here, and maybe it's being broadcasted, it feels very freeing. It feels very beautiful and genuine, and not like from the ego. Like
Yeah.
it's coming from a conscious place, which
Mhm.
I value, and I feel like I could talk to you for days.
Yeah, likewise. Likewise. And isn't that such, this is why we need each other. What a blessing that is. You know, because what you're sharing with me is so meaningful to me, and then your practice, your ability to just start almost putting in the reps of like
Mm,
talking about this and putting it out there. Man, there's only been one or two times in my life where it was so obvious that once
mm.
I started talking about it, then it came. And it was one when I just started saying, I want to be in a like little Christmas Hallmark type movie. Then by the end of that year, I had my first little movie I was in. Like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
So cool.
But like, y'all, if we're not talking about it, we're
Uh-huh.
not even giving the opportunity for people to come in and receive from us, much
That's right.
less help us. And I know how much I really love to be able to come in and assist people and help them. And so really, Brian, it's courage that asks for help, but then humility. What's the other or others character qualities that are necessary for us to be able to step into, yes, our calling, but we need to do so with the people around us?
I feel it's gratitude.
Oh, I
Be-
love this.
because it's so funny because like my wife and I, we were just sitting at the dinner table. Her parents are there. They get into the same fight they've gotten into for decades. And I'm like watching this because everything is relationships, okay, guys? So I'm watching this and I see how Nancy and my father-in-law talks to my mother-in-law, which I adore. I love them. They treated me like a son since day one. And then I was like, I go to Nancy. I'm like, this is not working. You
Wow.
know, like you're just like you're telling someone what they're doing wrong, and you're just like they're already feeling bad, but like like it's not gonna work. We got to inject some gratitude here, and then they were both like in it, and then so I just speak up, which I never do. I never do. I just watch it, right? And then so I speak up and I'm like, I say a few things. I'm like, Dad, listen, you know what? Mom feels this way. So like, and then I just kind of told him some things, and then he's like, oh, I don't really agree with you. I'm like, no, Dad, listen, like we got, and then she speaks up. The mother-in-law speaks up. She's like, yeah, Brian's right. I feel this way. And then like what happened was so beautiful because I can't fake this. It's like then we got a conversation because she's like, oh yeah, Brian's right, and this and that.
Wow.
And then I literally just injected gratitude, and literally, I kid you not, and Nancy was there as a witness. You ask her. 2 minutes later, Nancy's mom is like, I love you, and go and reaches for dad to like kiss him.
Oh, Brian,
And
that's
and
beautiful.
and I'm like, yo, that's all you gotta do. You just gotta inject gratitude, yo. That's all you gotta do. And I have my ways, you know.
I like your little gangster. Yo, you gotta inject gratitude.
I get it from you and Kasim though. You gotta say y'all. You gotta say y'all like every third sentence.
That's so funny. I didn't realize you said that too. Someone asked me, they were like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm not from the South. I'm just below the Mason-Dixon line. I don't deserve the opportunity to say y'all, but it's so much more efficient. So I'm gonna pretend."
It
So,
sounds so cool though.
well, yo sounds way. I think I said yo the other day on a live, and I was like, what just came out of my mouth? It was the most unnatural thing I've ever said. That's so funny. Anyways, you can pull off yo, I can't. So we'll both exist in our
Amazing.
in our linguistic choices. Brian, I am so incredibly grateful for this conversation. I'd love to hear a little bit more about what the specifics are that you're really leaning in towards with this business and this new calling.
Yeah. So what I see so far is I'm helping mostly men because men are conditioned to not talk about things. They
Mhm.
they take on this responsibility of making money, providing for the family, but sometimes when they're dealing with stuff,
Mm,
society tells them they're not supposed to say shit because if they do, they're cowards, they're weak, so it just gets held in,
mm,
and they either go numb it out with drugs, alcohol, you name it, or they just like confine themselves from the world. And
yeah.
then when it gets too much, they just like blow up. And
Yes.
then that's the reason why their marriage is done or whatever
They reach.
because of that one blow up. But then that could have been freaking prevented, yo.
Yes. Wow.
So it's like it's gonna be majority men who they're good with money. They go to the gym. They look good. A lot of them,
Yeah.
but like inside, they're hurting so hard, and they're not encouraged to talk about it. And I
Mm,
know this is a very hard thing, probably. Like logically, I'm like, yo, I don't. How am I gonna even get clients or whatever? But I'm not concerned about that because if people
yeah.
resonate with this right here, which is a human level, it's not about how much money you make or anything like that. It's like if you want to leave a legacy of beautiful relationships so you can pass it down to the people who are looking up to you
Mhm.
as an example or your kids or whatever, then let's get to work.
Yes. Man, I love that. Chills. Brian, everything you said here, I am so incredibly grateful. This went in a direction that I had no idea where we would go. And so I'm so grateful for your time, and I'm so confident that this is exactly what you should be doing. You bought this domain 10 years ago. This has been in your soul for a decade. Just
Yeah.
so I'm
Yeah.
excited to see your content, your posts about this, and I'm going to be cheerleading you along the way because it's
I,
really exciting. People
I'm
feel
uh, I'm so grateful that you kept inviting me onto this show.
mm,
I delayed it quite a bit. I didn't know if I was even worthy at the time.
mm,
Really, like no one really asked me to be on a show,
yeah.
but you called me up.
Mm,
You called
mm,
me up, and it's part of my story. Like perhaps
yes.
that's what started some percolating. You know, because I literally feel tapped on the shoulder to really bring this to the world and not and I'm not here to just help men, don't get me wrong, it's for women who will be tough enough to handle the tough love
Yeah.
because I'm very direct, when I speak, and if you're willing to like go straight to it and in a beautiful way and we can dance together,
Yeah.
then I might be able to help some women too. But it's more for the men that
Mhm.
they got their money right, they got their health supposedly seemingly right too. But yeah, I'm
It's the
just
relationship.
here to serve.
Y'all, it's all relationships, like he said at the very beginning. And if we are able to inject gratitude, what can happen for the way that we view ourselves, but then also the way that we show up in the relationships with our families,
That's
our
it.
coworkers, our employees, etc. So, Brian, thank you for joining today. I'm so grateful for you, my friend.
Thank you. I really appreciate you for asking me to come on here.
Mm. Well,